All right, good morning, everybody. It is officially hump day. Okay. My audio and everything coming through good, so we ready to go. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. It's been kind of an interesting week in terms of price action. Let's go ahead and look at this economic calendar. Today we had ADP non-farm employment change. And then at 10 we have ISM manufacturing PMI, and at 10:30 as usual we have the crude oil inventories. Tomorrow initial jobless claims at before the open at 8:30, and then Friday we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate, and then the non-manufacturing PMI. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the power range report for this first trading day of September. We got a high of 15,602.75 with a low of 15,590.25. Sentiment is long. When I posted this, up 0.39% with a volume of 63K with an ATR of 165.49. All right, let's take a look at a peek at the chart. So you can see we had some decent little swing overnight. Pretty much yesterday overall we were just basically trading in a range. Interesting, price action to trade yesterday. I'm trying to remember exactly the takeaways from yesterday. There was a look below and fail here that I was looking at, which I didn't get any follow through. And so from that, it took a while to actually follow through with that look below and fail, and we're starting to climb higher. Broke out of this little range that we had here, retested, and now we're creating another nice range. So this is just a whole lot of ranges so far since yesterday. I don't think anything sticks out from a daily perspective. Just slowly chopping higher, climbing our way higher into new all-time highs. We can honestly go either direction this morning. So we'll see. We'll, stay flexible, stick to the strategy, stick to the plan. Don't over speculate. That's my personal plan. That is what has worked out best for me. Stay in the moment, be present, and maintain the frequency. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the market. Overall, we pretty much got the same thing across the board. That's not the one I want. I want this one. So ES mostly in the bullet zone. We've retraced back into the power range. Yes, also it's along with NQ is just chopping around and slowly climbing higher into new all-time highs. Looking at our range bound stuff, RTY is basically the same price action as ES. Has almost retraced back inside its power range. YM is now below its power range. But overall, I'm comparing it to the power range, but it's the price action, same price structure across the board. A lot of selling in the pre-market for CL. But also a similar structure as our indices. Also keeping in mind with CL, we do have the inventories at 10:30. GC kind of just almost opposite of what the others are doing, just kind of bouncing around in a wide range. Okay. It did break a little, slightly higher, but then retrace right back in below. So this is, GC is kind of all over the place this morning. It's hard to even really call anything on GC. Of course, all the structure and like the support and supply and demand zones are there, which are very tradable. Just a matter of perspective and how you're looking at it. And I believe E6 is more so, yeah, it's more so bullish. Had a nice little dip overnight, and we've been just climbing higher. This has the most consistent structure out of everything else on my watch list. All right, so that's our, now we have a pulse of the futures market. Make sure I run back through my checklist. I've been kind of back and forth about this, but I'll go ahead and mention it now. I'm thinking about taking a break from the stream for September. So more than likely, this will be the only sound the bell for September, is to give myself a break. I'll still be in the Discord, and I'm sure I'll still be making videos for YouTube. Just kind of redirect the focus for a while. And we do have pretty moderate volume this morning. The volume has been kind of light lately. I think yesterday morning was so it's been kind of all over the place, but now we're kind of back into that, the normal range that we've been used to seeing for the majority of the last or for this year and even 2020. Appreciate that, Origin. Alright, we got about 3 minutes to the bell, and make sure I get my pre-market screenshot. Reminding myself the only goal is to trade the strategy to perfection. I always see the big picture. Keep pulling that trigger on the right setups. Of course, following the strategy and the plan. Make sure I got this recorded. I'm recording this on the side. All right, everything is checked off. About 30 seconds before the bell. I am seeing some support here at PR+2. Also, I updated I had some time. Well, I actually took the time yesterday to update my balance zones, my balance levels. So, it's slightly different than what I've been using, but I had to go back and just look at all the balance levels as a whole and kind of redo them. All right, look like we got some buying off the VPOC at the open, so we're just gonna sit back and watch this. Let them work this out in the first 3 minutes. Back around to that support that I mentioned before the open off the PR+2. Pushing into, is this all-time high territory? Almost, not quite, not quite. A lot of momentum coming in there, but we do have some people trying to short the highs. We also had this double top, kind of hard to see here, for today's session that we're breaking out of. We expect to see a retest at least, using our PR+5 as a reference. Oh no, it's PR+4. Man. Starting to look like it's gonna be a day like Monday. This is the way they're painting this picture. It's kind of a momentum play. this first 3-minute candle is much bigger than all of the other candles. You see, it took out this whole, what is about a 30-minute period. You see about a 45-minute period right here before the open. I definitely do expect to see some selling in the all-time high range. I remind myself the purpose of that is to be aggressive. Let's see. Don't have a whole lot of supply, so far this week. It is the first, day of the month. This is usually, prone to a lot of buying. I'm trying to, okay. Your charts keeps just trying to put this stuff. On my charts that I don't want. We got our VPOC still in the same place, around 630. We also have volume structure there. Also keeping an eye on that PR+2 support. Just looking for places where we can expect to see some buyers hanging out. We definitely know we're going to have some shorts sitting up here in the highs. We have some buyers coming also playing a retest. Price is kind of just hanging out right here around 660. Above us we have a balance zone at 676. About 6 points from the high. in a sense of our environment. So I'm seeing some, some sellers coming in here. We still have selling, trying to push prices lower. Nice little battle zone up here above PR plus 4. I don't know why I always want to give this a different number. If you're thinking of 3, 2, and 5, it's everything except what it is. About 50% of that. Make sure I get this late screenshot. So far, it's looking like those with a bullish perspective are have the control so far this morning. Interestingly, ES is doing the complete opposite. So it triggers me to go ahead and see what the rest of the market is doing. Looks like we also have selling with RTY. Move this out the way. Same thing with YM. So NQ is on its own sheet of music this morning. We'll see where they want to meet in the middle. I'm just using that as just a state of awareness. It's not gonna trigger me to do anything outside of my my normal strategy. And Q does have the tendency to keep doing its own thing for a while. A lot of times it has a tendency to lead the way, but doesn't. It's not 100%. It's not always the case. Sometimes they literally meet in the middle. And usually they do kind of come back in sync with each other, and they usually follow in queue. We'll see what plays out this morning. And Q is still pushing into all-time highs. I think my break even has been triggered. Yep. On that push higher. So worst case scenario right for me in this one is I get scalped out on a break even. Let's see if we can push higher above our session high. was yesterday's high? I just completely messed up my charts trying to. It's all good. I got everything I need on there still. $677.25. Today's high so far has been recorded at 672.75. And there we just blasted right into our past yesterday's highs, which puts us in new all-time highs. Sellers are determined to not give up on shorting the highs. So it's just gonna be, it looks like it's gonna be a day of highs with NQ. ES looks like it's trying to turn around off the PR low. I have to make a mental note to go back and put my indicators back on the chart. I don't need them right now. Actually, let me start trailing this. Start trailing this momentum. We are trading to the moon. For me, 697 or 698 marks. This is my, it's basically the moon for me. So these white lines, just how I use the power range, or how I have it, I pretty much look at it as this is us trading to the moon. Kind of like it's a visual representation to kind of give me a sense of momentum and how far we're trading away from the mean. At some point I would expect it to come back and retest that break higher above 675. So far we have no supply, we're just pushing price higher. That's one thing that's keeping this market up. We just don't have enough of supply. It's just a lot of buyers, a lot of people interested in buying, not a whole lot on the opposing side. And you have a lot of shorts that are trapped, but they don't have enough of they don't have enough of a big enough of a group, if that makes sense, to actually get a real move short. They take the kind of short that they will be looking for. So most of the shorting that I see right now is just from quick longs. Those looking to get in and out really quickly. I gotta at least put my not that. So just looking at the price action, it does seem like we can get that retracement soon to retest that previous break. I'm going to trail this kind of hard. I think it's very likely that we can continue trading higher. Of course, I'm not going to expect it to go straight up and never look back. I do, expect it to continue seeing this up-down price action. All right, that takes me out of the position. Quick little dip at the PR plus 7 where we see we got some volume, a spike of volume there. So let's see if that continues to take us into higher prices. Being that this is my moon, I will be looking for. Definitely could be, looking to see some shorts there. Or some selling there. With that being said, it does make sense in hindsight, I could have actually had my target right below the moon. So the way that I'm looking at this now is to see if I am seeing some selling that's coming in. I'm looking for, I'm probably not going to trade it anymore today. Just just seeing how this is trading. But I would be looking at this, what do I call this, 676. My power range stuff is covering up the balance. So at this balance zone, right, or this balance level here, I'll be looking for a retest near that area. There's some slight volume there. Also, that's the all-time high breakout area. It was a slight quick, a micro retest, but I would expect more of a retest than what we got there. Would expect some more buyers to be sitting there. Also, this will be a target if I did short up here. This will be a target to cover, if not all the position, take some of the position off. Just understanding, just from a structural standpoint, that this was a breakout level. I'm probably not gonna have my target all the way at the breakout, but I'm gonna front run that just to increase the probability that my target gets filled, that my order is filled. Expecting some buyers to be sitting there at the previous highs or at the previous resistance. We're taking it back to the previous highs. Now the actual resistance was here at right at around 670. Getting a strong push below that. Also, ES is starting to sell off strong, so as of right now, NQ looks like it is following. It's trying to catch up to the rest of the index products, the index futures. That's YM, a lot of selling with YM. Same thing with RTY. Starting to catch some buyers at PR plus 5. Back in the range that we were seeing at the open. Could be shaping up to be a look above and fail from a big picture perspective. We can also see that on the 30-minute. Now buyers are stepping right back in there. Almost 50% of that range. That is kind of mechanical. I mean, how buyers stepped in there almost to the tick of one of the indicators that I'm using. That painted the picture for another push higher. Completely forgot about my other account here. Is that a signal? Yeah, that was a signal. So I did miss a signal over there. I minimized that earlier trying to get some other information. Can't see it on this screen, but where we did catch this buying is also, we also have the volume point of control there. There was 110 contracts in that first 30-minute period. So also in the hindsight, where I got out was actually a really good location, because even if I would have tried to just hold the break even, I think that would have traded back to where the break even automatically triggers. And this looks to be shaping up into holding us within a range, we shall see. I kind of hate making statements, speculative statements like that. Kind of, but at the same time, I do want to look at where I can see the bulk of buyers and sellers. Of course, there are always going to be buyers and sellers in between the areas that I'm looking at, but I'm looking for where the bulk of them going to be. So where is our wholesale? Where they're going to be trying to build positions, and where are most of the smart money in terms of, I'm using that term loosely, smart money in terms of like retail traders and stuff. Where are they gonna be looking for positions? We don't really have any, just how mechanical this is trading. I wouldn't say that there's a ton of like big money that are trying to build positions that don't really look at these indicators and the technicals of the market like that. They're just, they're just putting a lot of size into the market, trying to build big positions. It's like our money managers, our hedge funds, and all that stuff. Still, like, the participation it's not a lot of energy. I don't give a lot of energy to exactly who I see participating. in the market at specific times that are, while I'm trading it or whatever. It's kind of just, I'm really looking at the pattern in which, that's being used, the program that's being run, and that gives me a sense of where I can expect to see the bulk of buying and the bulk of selling. I don't really care who's creating this buying and selling. I just need to be able to recognize the program that's being run, or the pattern. Like right here, understanding the structure and understanding the mechanics of it all. I don't really need to know why buying came right there. All I need to know is if there, what's the probability of some buyers sitting there, and how does that make sense for my strategy, right? And yeah, that's really it. How likely is it to have some buying here, and how does that relate to my strategy? And then that gives me something that I can make a decision off of. I don't care if it's shorts trying to cover there. I really don't care if it's, Santa Claus trying to, make money for his Christmas activities. I really don't care who's sitting there, who's buying there. I just need to know what's the likelihood of some buyers being there. I think a lot of traders give too much energy into all the details of what could be happening, instead of just looking at it from a bigger perspective and how that relates to the frequency that they hold. So as I say that, we still do have some buyers sitting down there. I'm really not even looking at this for a trade at this point. Let's get in my visual screen time. And so I was listening to a podcast yesterday that they were talking about. Yeah, it was a podcast. Trying to think if it was an ebook or a podcast. Doesn't matter. What matters is they were talking about like over trading, and one of the things that they mentioned was like what you can, like if you find yourself that you just pulling the trigger just because you're bored or whatever, like you have to just, you can't, if you're sitting here watching the charts, you have to interact with it in one way. And one of the things that the host mentioned was, well, you can just sit there, if you, instead of just taking trades that that really is outside of your strategy and taking bad trades, you can sit there and watch it to get your screen time. But from that is something that you can do, but you have to be aware of what kind of person you are, what frequency you hold. So if it's really hard for you to look at the charts and get your screen time without interacting with it, then it may not be the best idea for you to sit there and watch it and try to go against who you are as a person. So you can find ways around that. You can still get your screen time in without risking too much of your money and without taking unnecessary trades, right? One idea for that is you could maybe even turn on sim mode, if that that way you're kind of, if you don't, but see, then there comes the problem of you getting too used to trading in sim, and so you just have to find your balance. So for me personally, I didn't really have the problem of pushing the trigger too much. Actually, what my problem was not pushing it enough, right? Was I didn't take the trades that I needed to take. So for me, screen time, I could just watch it to get screen time. And for me, sim mode did help because it got me used to pulling the trigger. And then I could go back into my live trading, if any of that makes any kind of sense. I know it's kind of all over the place trying to, because it's a complex thing, and the reason I even bring that up is because they were kind of being over simplistic about it. But it is it's something. The main takeaway there is you have to be aware of yourself. It always comes from it's all about self-awareness, right? You have to trade from within, like I'm always talking about. So you have to figure out what method works best for you, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's only based off. You're only going to be wrong if you're going against who you are as a trader, who you are as a person, right? And as long as you're trading from within, you're always going to be right. So that's the only right and wrong in any of that. So while I did get a couple more signals in there, but those are signals that I would not take just because of how this is trading, and I don't see a lot of potential to the upside here. So we are on, if I'm looking at this from a 1 minute, this is why I'm really not that interested in trading this right now, because I'm looking at it from both sides and the price action and all of that. We're kind of being held on a 1 minute into a pattern pattern, and we're making lower highs and higher lows from a swing perspective. So this doesn't give me, this price action, the structure doesn't give me the best opportunities from what I'm looking for to take another trade and to end up over trading. So we're trying to make a break higher the way that they're painting this. But we have some resistance that we would need to break through and get that follow through. One of those levels of resistance is this PR plus 7 right here at 685.5, slightly above that. And I would expect to see some more shorts up here at the moon. If I had to give it a price, which would be a range, it would be 691.5. Let's call that 691 to 698. So as I mentioned back here, once we caught that bounce, just looking at the price action, I felt like we were going to be hanging around in a range, which is what's playing out at the moment. And we did have some sellers step back in there at our resistance. Let's see how far they can push us back down. Wouldn't be surprised to see us go back to PR plus 5, which is 660.5. But we do have support before we get there if we're going to maintain this pennant. Eventually it has to break out of this range, but it can go in either direction. I don't really see, just looking at this section right here, I don't really see either side having control yet. In our normal fashion, from a buying perspective, from a long perspective, we are slowly pushing into the highs of that range with a quick sell-off back to the lows of that range. Usually when we shorts usually happen quicker than longs, and we are seeing that in the structure and the price action within this range. Another thing we can look at is the volume profile. We can see that there's a lot of noise in this range that we're trading in now. So we can also, with that, we can expect a lot of this back and forth that we're seeing. This also confirms our mechanical trading. All of these things are things that I look at. I'm officially at the end of my trade window, so even if I saw something at this point, I couldn't take it. Oh, one more thing I meant to look to confirm. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that. So yeah, the market is closed on Monday due to Labor Day. Just wanted to go ahead and put that out there. Make sure everybody's aware of that. And we are just still hanging around chopping around within this range. It looks like we're trying to push lower right here. They are painting the picture to get some shorts to jump in and push the prices lower. Still would be expecting some buyers to jump in around at 660 and a half. We can actually look at it as a range to 651. So 660 to 651. Yesterday was another good. We had good price action to give us a lot of range bound opportunities. Usually the market does hang around or trade within a range. I guess this is another reason why I stopped really. Well, that's why I don't really care too much if we have a trending day and I miss a trade, because those days happen less frequently than range bound days, and I know I'm gonna have a lot of opportunities even if I don't catch a trade in those trending days. Like I always say, trades are not Pokemon. You don't have to catch them all. And with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end the session on that note. Hope everybody have a good rest of the week. Hope you have a good, some good trades. Find some good trades in the month of December. Like I said, I will still be hanging around in the Discord and giving attention and energy to that. And I'm sure I'm going to make some other videos outside of these streams. So with all that being said, I hope y'all have a good rest of the week, a good weekend, and I will see y'all on the next one. Trade it easy.